ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the January 24th Impact Review. Now, this Impact really was way under my expectations. I was hoping for better from TNA, and I did not get it here. There was some effective work done, but was it compelling television? No. Let's get to this. I'm not doing them in order. I'm going to do them out of order. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the tag team with Christian York, RVD versus Ion and Kenny King. Long live the King. We have Kenny King and Zema Ion with a backstage where Kenny King's looking in his locker. I'm sure he got himself a nice mirror in there and looking at himself saying, I look so damn fine. I am the true king of professional wrestling. That's what I thought. The segment between them wasn't that bad, but really the problem here is not Kenny King, not Christian York, not RVD. To me, the problem we see here for the X Division right now, in my humble opinion, is Zema Ion. Look, eventually, if Jesse Sorensen is able to come back, because they're saying he eventually will come back. I'm hoping he'll come back. I haven't heard anything about it. If anybody has heard about Jesse Sorensen, tell me below what you think. Because as far as I can see, eventually he will return. If it's not to the middle of this year, maybe near the end. I don't think he's coming now. But if he is coming back, which I believe he will, and I hope he truly is coming back because he's a great talent. The thing is that the person he needs to face is Zema Ion. And at this moment, his character, his construction of his heel character is terrible. There's nothing there. Especially that the X Division is so badly deconstructed. The match itself was not a bad match. It's not the point of the match because the person who won, as I expected, had to be Zema Ion over Christian York. For the simple fact is this, they need to reconstruct Ion to make him a very dangerous type of heel, so when Sorensen comes back, he will have someone to challenge. This is all revolving around this. If TNA is not dumb as a stump to realize that they need Sorensen to face Ion to really give a real redemption type of thing. No, not redemption. Not revenge, but justice. Sorry, I don't know why I said redemption. He needs to have justice. And Zema Ion is the one who broke his neck. In real life, I heard that Ion actually was very worried and concerned. I had been talking with Jesse for quite a while to see how he's doing. Zema Ion isn't a big jackass in real life. He's not that bad of a person. So he checked up on Jesse, who's actually quite surprised that he snapped his neck. Now the thing is this, if this is going to work, where these two individuals must face one another so Jesse can actually become a main eventer, they must reconstruct Ion. Ion is the only person that's important in this entire thing, because if it was something else, if Kenny King was supposed to be the most important thing, Kenny King should have won over RVD. And this would prepare RVD and Kenny King for lockdown. But there was nothing there. The person that won this was Ion. This is only about Ion. They must reconstruct this so Ion is the one that's going up against RVD at lockdown. I know this is like, are you sure about that? To be honest, this sounds proper for the simple fact of what I said. Eventually, Sorensen is coming back. Ion's going to need the title. He will eventually need the title so Jesse can get over. Just having a one-on-one match is not enough. He has to have the title for this. So they must reconstruct Ion. They must. Now next, the TAZZ and Daniels segment before the match. It was early in the night. TAZZ and Daniels did a nice segment in the back. And I said this before and I said it again. I'm saying it again. TAZZ is now going to be on and off a manager. I said it before and I'll say it again. He will be a manager from now on. Even though he'll still perform in the ring, when it comes to Daniels, he will be his manager. That's what happened at the end of the night. And I can say, you know what? I'm going to get the end of the night match over with. The match itself was very, very good. Better than anything we saw all night. Much better than anything we saw all night. It's not the match of the year, but it was the best segment of the night. So when it came down to it, I didn't expect Daniels to win, but I was hoping that Daniels would get a DQ. That's what I was hoping for. A build to lockdown. But what did they do? Instead of doing a disqualification or some type of controversy to continue this so they can have more meat on the bones of this type of feud, they didn't do that. They let Hardy win. Why? They should have allowed this to happen. They should have allowed a DQ, and then when it came to TAZZ coming down at the end of the night saying, what do you think is going to happen? Do you know what's about to happen to you when when they come and get you and he gets whacked in his leg? It could have been a DQ. This could have still been a DQ. It didn't have to end with Hardy winning because Hardy can't go to the UK because of his felony. Remember, anybody who has a felony cannot leave the country. He can't. He can't leave the country. He is restricted to this country until his sentence is over, until he either does community service or his full sentence is cleaned up, or he has his trial, which I don't think he has a trial. He's gonna have he had his sentence already. But here's the problem with that. It really messes up Christopher Daniels because right now that Hardy won, what did we gain from it? Nothing. And now with Hardy gone from this, because Impact is now going to England, how are they going to structure Hardy? Are they going to have him do video segments? In other words, pre-tape before they leave? So it'll make sense because they're going to structure the show. And he'll do like maybe fake satellite transmissions so he can talk in the Impact review. Or maybe, not Impact review, Impact Zone. Maybe he will be doing actual live satellite interviews. I don't think they'll do that because that's very expensive. And they're cheap. So I think they're just going to do pre-tapes of him periodically being seen for the next month. But here comes the problem. Because they're going to be doing that, because of his felony, we're not going to have it for a month. So the title's going to be completely blank. Unless they're going to strip him of the title, which actually I would like to see. I know that seems like, oh, come on, man. You don't want to strip Hardy of the title. He's begun to get over. People like him. Yes, that's true. But here's the problem. There's not going to be more than just a month build for lockdown in February. We'll have 1 month of build. And Hardy's not going to be seen for a whole month because that's how long they're going to stay in the UK. So I'd rather see him get stripped of the title by Hogan. And then after he's stripped, give it to Daniels. And then Hardy can get his rematch because of being stripped. He can try and get a chance to fight back and then have Christopher Daniels and have Hardy right before lockdown or at lockdown. That would be more compelling TV than this. That's how I feel about it. Now, the next thing, let me get this over with. Kurt Angle. What we got from Kurt Angle was empty. When we saw Samoa Joe, and I'm thinking there's something going on with Samoa Joe. I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it because, of course, Samoa Joe's an antisocial guy. He's a loner. He doesn't like Wes and he doesn't like Garrett. So he's saying, don't be up my ass. Stay away from me. I'm not Kurt Angle. But when he left Kurt Angle, I had this strange feeling the way he was looking. Something feels like it's going on. Don't know what it is. I don't think he's aces and eights. He might be considering it, but I don't know. But seeing Wes and Garrett, there was nothing there. And then when he called out Anderson, and Anderson tries to kick his ass, really, I liked Anderson. I liked him when he was Mr. Kennedy. I've said this before. I always liked the Kennedy character. I like Anderson, but really, there's no structure for him. This is what I'm going to say in my title, below. Making that mistake going above. It's below. And I'm saying no long-term vision from TNA. There is no vision here. This entire show had no vision of what they can do. I'm not expecting them to do leaps and bounds of stuff, but I am expecting them to kind of drag things out a little bit. I didn't see that here. Let there be more conflict between the two so people will get some interest. Just having a match now, next week in Open Fight Night, Seriously, I have no interest. None. I have no interest in open fight night when it comes to Angle and it comes to Kent. I can't even think of Mr. Asshole properly because I am so not invested in this. I can't. There's nothing there. The match probably will be very good. Don't get me wrong. These guys can go in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. But with no build, what the hell are you supposed to do? I don't see nothing here. So I'm going to move on. The, let's see, the Joseph Park segment, I feel is very premature, really. I love the Joseph Park character. I love they changed the Abyss into Joseph Park. And eventually, Joseph Park will go back to Abyss. We all know that. We all going to wait for that. We can't wait for the scenes of Abyss being seen. I know you guys are waiting for it. I'm not too upset about seeing the Abyss come back. I like Joseph Park, but the thing is that it's too soon. I was hoping they would drag this a little longer. They're trying too hard. Like I said, there's no clear vision here. They're trying to cram everything into like another monthly pay-per-view cycle. If they supposedly from January into March, you got 3 months to build. Why are you trying to rush this? Why have him on open fight night? Wait until like February to do open fight night with him. Let him go walk around TNA. Let him go back to OVW. Let us see more segments with OVW. I could not believe now they cut the OVW segments out. And Davey's not being seen anymore. And OVW's not being... I don't get this shit. I don't believe this. They now cut out the OVW. If they put it back in, I'm so happy. But now it looks like they're taking it out. I don't see it. I don't understand it. So his segment was okay, but if you really want to understand what's going on with Joseph Park, he wants justice. And the way he talked really makes it sound like justice. It wasn't a bad segment, but the problem is it's too soon. I'd rather see him wait until late February before he has a match. Less than a month? Seriously? Don't know who he's going to pick. He said he's going to be debating about it and checking over. My guess is might be Devon, might be Doc. Can't be TAZZ. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Now the Austin, Aries, and Roode. Woo. These men are gold. They're backstage where each one is trying to trick the other into facing Super Hercules Hernandez. Trying to trick one another to get into that match because neither one of them really wanted to face him. Was not boring at all. I liked it. I loved they were trying to trick each other. And at the end of it, Roode realized he got screwed and he said, fuck. He tricked my ass. The match itself was not great. It wasn't. But it wasn't bad either. It was not a bad match. It was just a basic standard match from two good wrestlers. It was not meant to be outstanding. Yeah, there was a lot of power moves. There was. There was a huge amount of power moves, but it doesn't mean it made anything great. Really. So in the end, when Superman almost got our wonderful it factor, you got Austin Aries saving his ass. And then, while Austin Aries and basically Chavo fighting one another, we got the it factor nailing on the head Superman. Not naturally, but you know what I mean. He just nailed his ass. And he won the match. And that's what the entire thing was about. Making sure we can get these two over enough as heels that when it's time for lockdown, they will get those belts. If TNA does not give these two the belts by lockdown or before it, I say this right now, TNA's 4 pay-per-view schedule a year is meaningless. Because they're not going all the way with their characters and the structures of their shows. It will be meaningless and they might as well go back to a monthly thing. Because if they're not willing to structure the show and structure these storylines properly, there is no point in this. They must let Roode and they must let Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived, win the tag titles because they're already way over as heels. They will be super way over as champions. Now, let's see. Bully Ray and Brooke. No, you know what? I'll wait. Because Tara and Velvet Sky, I'll get the Knockouts Championship over with. I'm going to say this clearly. Sorry, I have to wear it. It's very cold in my apartment. For Tara and Jessie, they must separate them now. I want to see Jessie and Tara separated now. Because they're using Jessie to get Tara over. And it's not working. She's a chicken shit heel. And I love Tara. She was always great as Victoria. I loved her. She always had a nice pair of boobs. She's a very beautiful woman. She knows how to act in the ring. She knows how to wrestle. I'd rather see her win by kicking someone's ass than letting Jessie hold on to Velvet Sky's leg. This sucked. I am happy that Velvet Sky went back to her old ring clothing. The other ones were a nice novelty for a little while, but it got tiring. I'm glad she went back to her old clothes, which made her body look a lot more interesting again. I love her boobs. She's a nice looking woman. She took a lot of the makeup that she was wearing a little less, which made her look better. But in the end, there was nothing here. I have to admit though one thing. When it came to the match itself, in the very beginning of it, Velvet actually showed more movement than we usually see from her. She actually did a lot more movement. She did some Japanese wrestling moves. She actually did a lot more in-ring being more technical than she normally is, because she's not very technical. So she showed a little glimpse of technical wrestling, a little bit. She did a little bit of chain wrestling on Tara, which is actually something different. The crowd actually was kind of into it by the time they saw the chain wrestling. Afterward, they weren't totally into it anymore, and the match was over. They were bored with it. But still, that little moment where she did some technical wrestling, I'm hoping Velvet becomes more technical. She's never been known to be a good wrestler. So if she's actually getting a little bit better wrestling, maybe she's going to Al and say, Al, I'll let you see these if you teach me a little bit more wrestling. He said, with head, yeah, I'll do what you want. Just wiggle those out of me again. Ain't that right, Head? Yeah. If that happened, I'm happy because she actually showed more ability. And that's all that matters to me. Now, commentary. I said a lot about TAZZ, but I didn't say how the commentary throughout the night was with TAZZ. Actually, I did. I'll take that back. Forget it. I don't need to say commentary sucked. Okay, what was the other one? Oh, yeah. The commercials they had for the Knockouts, where you saw Gail Kim, Velvet Sky, Miss Tessmacher, ODB wearing I don't know what the hell that was she was wearing, but those boobs of her look huge. And they're trying to sell the merchandise from the Knockouts to try and make you interested in buying that merchandise because the Knockouts are a part of it. The Knockouts, here's the problem I see with them. The entire knockout division is dead. Right now, there's nothing there. There is nothing there. I was hoping that in the beginning of this year to the middle, they're going to restructure the Knockouts. I'm hoping after lockdown something new will happen with them. Do I believe that? No. Like I said earlier, I see no clear vision with TNA. I said earlier that they're going to have problems trying to structure the show. Is going to be sloppy. But there's a difference between being sloppy and no structure. This is no structure. I don't see nothing with the Knockouts. And in the end, I'd rather just see the Knockouts become managers. Let the Knockouts become managers. If it's going to be this way, where the Knockouts are almost nothing like the Divas division, I'm about to say the X division. Actually, it's not much different either. The X division and the Knockouts division is dead. Really. I'm hoping they restructure them both. But really, do I think they're going to do this? No. And this really hurts me because I've seen the Knockouts division. It was great. 2011 Knockouts division was still vibrant. You had Tara and Mickie Jane in a steel cage. When the hell do you ever remember seeing two Knockouts in a steel cage on nationwide TV? You don't. And they went from 2011 to 2013. And they were here. Digging to China. Shit. Anyway, final thing I'm going to talk about will be Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan in the ring. The reason I put this at the end is that the segment with Bully Ray was for him, not saying it's any better than anyone who's a face who's trying to get justice, trying to get revenge. Wasn't any different. But for Bully Ray, who's never really been a good guy in that respect, for him, it's much better than what I've ever seen from him. Doesn't mean it was great work, but it was greater work than what he's done before. It was well said. It was structured pretty well. Seeing Brooke by his side, and she didn't say anything, was a smart move. If Brooke had talked, the entire segment in the ring would have gone to crap. Would have gone bye-bye. Having it like that was a good thing. Having her just under his arm, showing that deliciously nice cleavage. Like I said before, you don't need to have big boobs to look hot and sexy. At least wearing those clothes, wearing some poom poom shorts, she looked good. Not great, but good. But anyway, saying about Devon, which worries me about Devon, and I'll say that at the end. Saying about TAZZ, which I know is not going to go anywhere. And I almost forgot, by the X Division tag team match, I'm going to say that, TAZZ left. And then came back later. I don't remember where. But, where was that when he came back? Oh, he came back during the Roode and Superman match. He was gone for a while, came back. But the point about this is, we know TAZZ is not going to get any punishment. He's going to be perfectly safe. Devon is the one that's the most worried about this, because if they structure this only around Devon and not going after all the guys in Aces and Eights, and then them disappearing, this is going to make it even worse than what they got right now. And him begging Hulk Hogan, please, reinstate me. There's only two problems with this. One, he has been in the Impact, and I agree with the British Fist and the Off the Rope show. I'm sure they're going to say the same thing. If he has been suspended, he should have not even been able to come back to the ring. He should have never had the ring segment with the marriage or the wedding. It should have never happened. So he's already part of the roster, and he's still doing whatever the hell he wants. It's like just getting a blessing from Hulk Hogan. Really. So him begging for it really didn't feel like anything. And then when Sting came out and said, when we're in the UK, Hogan's going to reinstate you. That just... I know there's going to be an England segment next week, and we know it's going to be something that's supposed to be somewhat sensitive, and they're going to have some type of conflict. Maybe Aces and Eight will come out, maybe instigating it by TAZZ. Because TAZZ seems to be the one that's going to be telling them to come out and do what they got to do. Really. But did this feel great? No. Do I believe this is the best work yet for Bully Ray? Yes, it is. Does it mean it was great work for any kind of wrestler? No. But for Bully Ray personally, Mark, he's done a lot more than what he normally does. He's gone, in a sense, outside his comfort zone. He's usually a heel. Usually. Yeah, there's been points where he's been a face, but usually that has been in tag teams. He usually doesn't work by himself, often. And in this case, because he's in a major storyline, this is new territory for him. So I can say he's doing much better than he did last week. But it doesn't mean he did great work. He did good work. How do I rate this? B-. I would say C+, but I'm going to say B- for the simple fact Austin, Aries, and Roode was gold. I liked it. I did enjoy that segment. The Kazarian and Daniels backstage was good. The Daniels and Hardy's match was the best match of the night, which there wasn't many matches at all. We didn't see Joey Ryan. We didn't see Matt Morgan, which was a downer. The Joseph Park segment was okay, but seeing him going to have a match at Open Fight Night was not great. Seeing Angle going after Mr. Anderson and there's no build, it was not great. I could say this is a C, but I'm going to make it a B- because, look, they need time to really build this up. In hopes, I'm saying in hopes they're going to start structuring the show, because this is only the second week after Genesis. If they're going to start really showing they have vision, it'll probably take a month. I'm hoping for a month. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope you like the ZANE'S view. Subscribe and comment to my channel. Leave me a comment below what you think, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that you like the show, and hopefully we get something better from TNA.